So, moving on to Matt Waldron, who we've mentioned a few times on this podcast in the last few weeks, is up to 64% rostered in the last week. So it looks like most of you missed your chance on adding Waldron. If Waldron is available, I highly recommend picking him up. Season long numbers, 3.43 ERA and 16 starts, 27 walks to 84 strikeouts in 89 innings pitched. So far in June, Waldron is sporting a masterful 1.95 ERA with a .80 whip in 5 starts. Those starts came against the Nationals, the Phillies, the Mets, the Diamondbacks, and the Angels. So big shout out to me for recognizing the skill set before he made these starts. Hopefully you guys listened and are reaping the benefits. His next 3 starts before the All-Star break should be against Boston, the Diamondbacks again, and the Braves. So Javi, you were a Waldron hater a couple weeks ago. So now are you starting to come around, or do you still kind of see Waldron as a streamer?
Well, being as the teams that you just mentioned, some of them are up there as far as offensive juggernauts. I'm starting to kind of I'm turning it around right now. The guy seems legit, dude. Seems legit. I
It's
think
the
the
knuckleball,
next
bro.
three
It's
starts,
the knuckleball. He is the best knuckleballer in baseball right now.
dude. Depending on how these next 3 starts go, I think it'll be a more sure thing as far as I go. But the guy seems legit, man. That's another one of those guys where you know, as a Padres fan or as a fantasy, manager looking for pitching, I mean, who was saying Matt Waldron is that dude? I need to pick him up right away. Like nobody was doing that at the beginning of the
Nobody.
season. So if you lucked out and you were able to pick him up on the waiver, man, kudos, man, because that's a great pickup. That's another rotation that's kind of hurting as far as the Padres go, and this is like an unexpected kind of help that the Padres need. Being in a tough, in a pretty tough division with the Dodgers being up there. Them trying to play catch up. But fantasy purposes, dude, diamond in the rough, man. You hit it right on the money, bro.
All right, Kevmo. We haven't heard what you have to say about Matt Waldron yet. Let's get it.
Yeah. So I just want to say this to start off. In our keeper league, I actually was in like the first 2-3 weeks of the season. I was streaming him, dropping him, like I just kept picking him up and dropping him because no one else was picking him up. So I literally had him basically on my roster for the first month of the season, but just based off of dropping and streaming. But also, I'm going to go into this. So knuckleball pitcher, right? It's 2 things: fun and good for good for baseball. 1 and 2. I mean, not that reliable because
No.
they don't even know where that ball is going.
There's so many times when catchers are just moving their glove to where they think the ball is going to be,
and it's going the
and
other
then
way,
they
and
end
they're
up
trying to
missing
catch.
it. It turns into a pass ball or like a drop third strike, and then they can't find it or something.
Exactly. His chase percentages are very low fastball velocity. His hard hit rate is low, and that's obviously which is good, but it's probably because the knuckleball, you can't barrel up a knuckleball very easily, so that's good. In my opinion, if we're talking about sell high, buy low, I actually would try to sell high.
Yes.
I love him, but I would sell high. I love him because, again, it's fun. I love fantasy baseball because you want the fun players on the team. You want tune into the knuckleballer. He's on my team too, even better. But the last thing I'm gonna say is for knuckleball pitchers, Tim Wakefield, R.A. Dickey, and that's the list. So maybe Matt Waldron adds to the list, but
maybe. You never know, man. Yeah. It's like, when's the last time we really saw a good knuckleball?
Exactly. It's
like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
It's been a long time. And these batters have probably never faced a knuckleball in their whole career, at least not a good one.
Especially younger guys.
And that's the thing, is that like it very much could be like this is the next guy on that list. This is the 3rd guy on the list, basically. Like that, and that would be fantastic. Maybe we're talking about him for couple seasons now, and he's in that conversation with the R.A. Dickies and the Tim Wakefields of the knuckleball pitchers. Or maybe right after the All-Star break, he turns into the rest of the knuckleball pitchers that we've seen that kind of have a flash in the pan, and then, can you name me another one is basically what I'm like kind of implying. And
I can't.
Right, exactly. And so I'm not saying, Padres aside or whatever, I'm telling you, I tune in. I like to watch it. It's really fun. I'm actually hoping, because again, it's good for the sport, that he sticks around and he's continues to be good. But the probability, the percentages, whatever, it's not necessarily in his favor. So I would sell high.
Yeah, that's the type of pitch that you kind of have to expect to have like some good starts and bad starts, because there's a lot of pitchers that are like, oh, my slider's not working today, so I'm going to start throwing my changeup more often today, and Matt Waldron actually does have a lot of pitches. Yet he throws the knuckleball up to almost 40% of the time, up from 26.7% last year. He has a four-seam fastball, a sweeper, a sinker, and a cutter. So a lot of hard stuff. He has the four-seamer, the sinker, the cutter, and then the only softer pitches is the sweeper and the knuckleball. So because he has a pretty decent arsenal, I think that could be in his favor a little bit, maybe just mix in some knuckleballs, even when he's not on his game that day with the knuckleball, but at least he can kind of like throw off batters a little bit. Maybe they're expecting the knuckleball, and then all of a sudden you have this 91-mile-an-hour fastball that comes in and they weren't expecting it, and it's just a called strike three, or a sweeper where they think it's going to be like a high fastball and ends up dropping out of the zone, and then it's a swing and miss. That's what I feel makes a good knuckleballer is the arsenal other than just the knuckleball. He does throw the four-seam fastball 22% of the time, the sweeper 19.5% of the time, and the sinker 14.4% of the time, with the cutter kind of mixed in around 5%. So because all of his pitches are at least 14% or higher, I think I'm willing to take a chance on Waldron, and if I can get something great in return from him, selling high,
that's
what it is. Totally do that,
That's
but
what it is.
If I can't, if I get something that I don't think is worth it in return, someone that I'm not really going to hold on to for the rest of the season, then I think I would just pass and just hope for the best from Waldron, at least for this year, because maybe next year batters will kind of like figure it out, and they'll kind of like catch up to him. But he is 27 years old. He's been a career minor leaguer up until last season. He barely made his debut at 26 years old. So
that's what I was gonna say. Like he can still work out some stuff, as far as maybe I just don't want them to know me as a knuckleball pitcher. Maybe I got to work. 2 seasons is not really a big sample size.
Huge,
So I mean, maybe down the road he might be a different pitcher.
Yeah, and I wonder where he's finding like this, like newfound progression of the knuckleball. Like, who's he learning this from? Because most pitchers, probably know how to throw a knuckleball, but not very good. So who is he learning how to get better at this from? That's what I'm wondering, because in my personal view, the Padres have never been good at developing their pitching, so I'm wondering if he kind of just has like his own trainer with the knuckleball.
Something,
I don't know.
Own trainer or something. Yeah, who knows? I think going back to what you said, my last 2 cents on it is exactly what you said, though, is if you're going to sell high, it's sell high because he's been performing really well. Don't just sell because you're a little nervous of it or whatever. Like, sell high. And then if you can't get anything high, just ride the hot hand. I mean, I feel like that's been my theme of this episode is ride the hot hand. And he's been hot right now, and just ride it. Yeah, ride it into the sunset if you can. But if someone's willing to offer you
the wheels fall off.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm a Waldron owner and I'm also like a Mookie Betts owner, I'm trying to replace shortstop or second base or whatever position I had. So I'd be going out there looking for starting shortstops or second basemen that I can trade Waldron for, and if I can't get I'm not saying get a top 5 shortstop because you're not going to be able to get that, but if you can get like CJ Abrams or something like that has some decent upside that might be a little struggling right now that you could buy low on and sell high on, that's what I would be looking for.
100%.
All right, so let's see. Javi, with Matt Waldron, he's coming up against the Red Sox, the Diamondbacks, and the Braves. If you own Waldron, are you starting him against those 3 teams?
Where they are? What are they road? What are the road and home games?
Yeah,
I'm not sure. That would actually be a fair question because
In
the
Boston.
Padres Stadium is one of the best best ballparks for pitchers when it comes to home runs. So
you said Red Sox, Braves,
Red Sox,
and who?
Diamondbacks, and Braves. I'm going to go to the Padres page right now to find out. All right, so they are
Boston, in Boston,
at Boston, at Texas, and versus Arizona. So they're at home against Arizona, but the Braves and the Red Sox. Oops. Sorry, I said Texas, but he's not starting against them. So it's at Boston versus Arizona and versus Atlanta. So the only home game is against the Red Sox.
No, other way around.
Other way around.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The home games are Arizona and Atlanta.
I'm gonna start them all 3. Because why not?
Why not?
The way he's pitching, you don't. I mean, what do you have to lose? The Padres don't really have anybody that stands out as far as pitching right now. And pitching has been kind of iffy this year, with all the injuries and stuff like that. So, I mean, I like Kev says, like, ride the hot hand. Why not?
I know the Diamondbacks can be good, but I think the Red Sox, I know the Diamondbacks have their days where it's like, oh, hey,
dude, it's like night and day. It's night and day.
Right.
Yeah, they'll score like 13 runs one day, and then the next day they'll have 1.
Right. And so it's like, I mean, you just never know. But I mean, I think it varies on your on your league, which again is a cop out answer. But in a points league, you're for sure starting them. I think all 3. I mean, it is what it is. If you're in one of those leagues where you have a limited amount of starts or whatever, then maybe against the Braves, you kind of, maybe you don't start them because they're starting to get hot again. But I think the other 2, the Red Sox have about 2 guys that are like a little bit scary. Other than that, no one. And then the Diamondbacks, depends on the day kind of thing. So, it is what it is. I think I would start him. I'm not too. He's playing well right now. If you're worried about your ratios and stuff, then sell him.
Yeah, exactly.